So unit number 4, we are going to see about HTTP server programming. First 3 units, it's all about the basis and the client-side programming, which we'll be seeing on it. Basically, HTML5, it's all about the designing aspects. And jQuery is all doing the client-side scripting, where jQuery is being used. And the next level, which is going to be a server-side programming. We need to know how to do the server-side also. Because it's client-side alone is not being sufficient. So we need to learn about server-side also. So with that intention, we have created a unit number 4 and 5, which all talking about server-side programming. So for that, first you should aware of that HTML forms. And another one is being called as CGI. So CGI is nothing that common gateway interface. So which is one of the term which has been used in the market for server-side programming, where client, how it is going to connect to the server and execute the program. And client will come up with a different kind of request. So sometime it may be a static request, sometime it might be a dynamic request, or it may be active request also. So these are 3 different kind of requests which will be coming from the client, so which need to be served by the server. So the server should be capable of handling all those different types of requests being coming from the client. So those kind of scenarios where these kind of CGI has been used. So starting from the basic programming, what they use is nothing that C#, and then VC++, all those older technologies they adapted in the market. And later on, once ASP has come, then ASP has been used from Microsoft and ASP.NET. And then even Java platform also, we have a Servlet and JSP. So these 2 are the core server-side programming which is being used in the market for a longer duration. So that is what we are going to discuss under this particular unit number 4 as well as unit number 5. So since this particular web technology has been majorly covering Java-based technology, so we are going to discuss about Servlet and the JSP. So unit number 4 is all about servlet programming. So what is that servlet programming and how it's been invented? All those details we'll be discussing under this, and followed by there is a life cycle. So life cycle in the sense starting with the initiation process, and then how to do the service to the client, and then how it will be destroyed. That will be a form of cycle. So that we'll be discussing under the life cycle of a servlet. For that, there are different methods are being there. Those methods also will be discussing under life cycle of a servlet. And then when you want to run your server-side programming, where we need to have a server. So without a server, you cannot run your server applications. So where there are various servers are being available in the market. So one of the famous servers which is being used in the market is nothing but a Tomcat server. So that's what we are going to discuss. So Tomcat server, how to configure this Tomcat server and how to set up, and then how to go for executing a different programs on the Tomcat server. So that will be having a discussion which is called Tomcat for servlet deployment as well as development also, right? And so once you server is being configured, then on the server we can go for writing a simple code for servlet. And after writing the simple code for servlet, we can go for deploying that particular servlet. So there are predefined setup steps are being available. So those steps we'll be discussing in detail in terms of theory aspects as well as in terms of practical also, because we have parallel web programming practical subject also has been there. So in that we'll be having a discussion about how we can go for configuring it, and then we can go for creating a servlet program, and then how to deploy that particular servlet program also will be seeing on it, right? And then along with that, it's not only about a Tomcat server. There are even other set of servers also being available in the market. So something like a WebLogic, WebSphere, then we have a JBoss. So like that, there are different varieties of servers are being available. So we can use any one of the server, and through that we can go for writing a servlet program, and then we can go for compiling it, and then we can go for execution also. So for that, we'll be discussing about different servers are being available in the market, especially for running your servlet programs. And then followed by the servlet as API. So APIs are nothing but application programming interface. So where there are the different set of library files are being available, and those library files you can utilize for executing your servlet programs. So that we'll be having a discussion. And then followed by, we'll be having a package. So whenever you try to run your servlet program, we need to import the package. So there are certain packages that need to be imported. With that only we can go for executing your program. So one of the core package being part of this particular servlet, which is nothing but javax.servlet. And here you can notice when you go for your core Java, which you studied in the previous semester, so where you'll be using java.io and java.util and java.math. So like that, all Java. So those Java, which is the core package. And whenever you're using JavaX, so which is clearly indicating that it is going to be advanced Java. Whenever you are seeing that JavaX mean advanced Java. So Sublet and JSP, then EJB, Enterprise Java Beans, all those things are all, and even your other programmings also comes under advanced Java programming. So where they'll be using a package called JavaX. So whenever you're seeing JavaX, it's clearly indicating that it comes under advanced Java packages, right? So, and then followed by how to pass on a parameter. Like if you want to pass a parameter and those parameters need to be read through your servlet program, how will you read on it? So what is the mechanisms being there for reading that particular parameters is being coming from the client. So because client will be sending so many parameters. So here the parameters, nothing that you may fill the forms, and those forms details you need to travel via network and it will be reaching to the server. And once it has been reaching to the server and those data is being requested by the client, we need to take it. So for that, we need to have a mechanism to retrieve the particular data, and then we need to manipulate on the server side. So that is where that your servlet program is being come into play, and that will be fetching those parameter, and then which will be converted into a native platform, and it will be get used for different purpose. So that will be having discussion under reading servlet parameter. And then for requesting the data from the server, so where one of the core mechanisms being adapted for any of the programming language is nothing but HTTP, so Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and through that only the web request will be coming. Whenever there is a web request, which will be coming via HTTP. So where even Sublet also we have a Sublet HTTP packages available, and those packages also will be seeing it. What are those packages and how it's going to function, and how to incorporate those packages into your program whenever you are trying to handle the HTTP request and the response. So whatever request being coming from the client is going to be a HTTP request, and in terms of you need to provide the response back to the client stating that either it may be a positive request or it may be a non-positive request. So where you need to use the HTTP response only. So there are set of classes and methods are being available. So those things we'll be discussing under handling of HTTP request and response. And similar way, whenever the client has been giving a request, which will be having a two methods. One is get method and another is post method. So that is also will be having a discussion. So I'll tell you what is the difference between get and post method also. And then followed by one of the key concept when you go for your web-based application, which is nothing but cookies. So we'll be seeing what is the servlet cookies and how it's going, how it will work. So that we'll be having a discussion. So which is nothing that using cookies. And then the last one is going to be a session tracking. So where basically whenever you're doing your online transactions, so we need to track that particular session details for later if there is any issues comes, right? It may be due to network or it may be due to some other reason. So we need to identify what is the reason that particular transaction has been failure or it's been successful. So where we have a mechanism called session tracking. So that is what we are going to discuss under this particular topic. So these are the things that's been part of your Sublet programming, which is comes under unit number 4. And followed by, we'll be having unit number 5, which is nothing but JSP and XML. So JSP is nothing but Java Server Pages. So which is something which is similar to your ASP Active Server Pages, which is from the Microsoft, and similar way from Java also they have created a mechanism or the language being called as JSP, Java Server Pages, which is something like more easier than your servlet, because whenever you're going for a servlet, there is a behind mechanism which we need to do, where you can just provide only the out.println statement, and through that we need to provide the request and response, and it's become quite huge when you try to use on it. But if you want to make it as a tag, something like HTML, how you're using, right? Simple tags, and through that you'll be creating the design, and then you'll be interacting with the websites. So similar way, if you want to do that on the server side, where JSP has been created, it's all something like a tags only. So many tags have been available, and through that we can go for doing your programming stuff also. So where JSP has been used, and it's become very simple also. Comparatively, compared to Servlet, it's become very simple. It's an advanced technology of Servlet. And we'll be discussing about the life cycle of JSP also, where we have a set of methods are there, and those methods something like to initiate and service and destroy. So like that, there are various stages. Those stages will be having discussion under JSP life cycle. And then we'll be seeing about what are the different tags being part of your JSP that is considered a tags. Then followed by when you want to run your server-side applications, we need a server. So here also we are going to use Tomcat server because it's most widely used web server. It's been in the market. So it's why Tomcat has been given here. And it's not only Tomcat, even if you want, you can use some other server also, something like WebLogic, WebSphere, or RAD, or any other server is being available in the market, JBoss. So you can use on it. It's not an issue. And then whenever you are going for giving a request, so here we have a request string is there, and through that we can provide the request from the client to the JSP, and it will be get processed, and it will be providing the detail back to you. And then followed by, we'll be having a session handling. So how the sessions are being handled, especially whenever you're going for online transactions. So where multiple requests will come, and from different machines with the different clients will be getting a request. So when you are getting it, so how you're going to handle that, and we need to identify from which client the requests come, and again we need to give the response back to the corresponding client. So where the session is going to be utilized, through that we can able to identify from which client the requests come, and what is kind of requests has come, and how we can go for responding back to the corresponding client. So where that use session has been used. And similarly, we have a cookies. So cookies, nothing but a temporary storage. So where we can go for storing our data temporarily on the web, and whenever it has been needed, we can take out the data, and then we can utilize for a different purpose. So something like you might have seen that when you go for your login, so your login credential will be stored on the web, so that later stages you need not to give it again and again. So you just need to choose from the list, and then you can just only need to type the password, and then you can just submit, so that it will go. And similar way, what are the website has been already visited by you, entire thing will be listed out once you type www. Which will list out all the website you have been already visited. So these are all comes from the cookies. Cookies, something like a temporary storage, will be storing the previous details which is being visited by the user. There it has a expiry date also, where we can set the expiry date. Until then, it will be maintaining the particular information. After that, it will be destroying the details. Right. And then followed by, we'll be discussing about what are the different session objects being part of your JSP, where it's a kind of a different approach they have created for session mechanism. So that we'll be discussing under session objects. Then followed by one of the key mechanism for web documents, because we need to create a web document also. Whenever you're going for creating any applications, it may be a normal application or maybe web applications, documentations become plain vital role. So when you want to create a documentation, especially for a web-based application, so they are using this XML. XML is one of the standard for creating this particular web documents. So where we'll be discussing about what is XML and the history behind XML, and then what are the different tags is being used in XML, and what are the different elements are being part of this particular XML, and along with that different properties, or we can say attributes. So it's being part of that XML, that also will be having a discussion. And followed by how this XML is being aligned with CSS. So CSS already have been aware of it, which is nothing but cascading style sheet. So where if you want to go for some kind of dynamic design which you want to make it for your application, so where the CSS being used. So how this XML has been going with the CSS, that will be having a discussion. And then followed by, we'll be having one more, which has been called as DTD. So when you're going for creating any of the document, we'll be having a different type of data which will be representing. So when you try to represent different type of data, where one of the core mechanism which they adapted in XML, which is called DTD, so document type definition. So what type of document that you're trying to create on it. So for that, we need to provide that particular information. And along with that, schema. So schema, which is something which is nothing like that structure. So where basically when you're going for creating your web document, we need to have a structure. So in the structure where we can specify which is the root and what are the sub elements which you're going to keep it, all those things which will be part of the schema. And along with that, what kind of data that you're going to represent. So something like when you go for your languages, will be using integer, float, character, double, long, short, all those things. So similar way, for this particular document, if you want to pass a parameter, in that parameter might have a type something like a string, or it may be an integer or some other type. Those who want those things, if you want to represent in your web application, so where it should be represented through XML schema. And through this only we can able to pass a parameter to your application also, and it will be get processed. So where that XML schema has been and vital. So that is also we'll be having a discussion. So that's why last unit we'll be having a discussion JSP along with the XML. XML is mainly for a document standard which has been adapted in the market in a longer duration. Okay. So these are all about 5 different units which has been part of your web technologies syllabus, and followed by the references. So these are the few reference books which will be using it for our web technologies syllabus. Since it's a multiple languages and multiple technologies we are using altogether, that's why one book is not sufficient. So we need to refer multiple books. You can see the syllabus. First unit is all about the basics and basics. It's about internet and something like web hosting and web publishing and web pages, website and search engines, all those things. So for that one book you need to refer. And HTML5, you need to have a different book. And again, for DOM and jQuery, there is a different book. And for Sublet and JSP, we need to refer another book. So for this unit, almost you need to refer 4 books, because each and every unit is unique and which are different things are there. So different technologies altogether we are using it. That's the reason why multiple books that need to be referred. So that's why the reference books are more which is being given over here. And so one of the core book which you can refer for this particular syllabus, where you can use this web technologies, and in this web technologies which will be covering this basis of internet, and then HTML5 and DOM and jQuery, these things will be covered a part of this particular syllabus itself. And followed by this Sublet and JSP, where we need to refer a different book. So where we'll be having this Madhusri and Ganguly, so JSP, a beginner's guide. So that book, you can refer it for JSP programming. Okay, so this one you can refer on it. And there is one more book where you'll be getting almost all, but it will be having only limited content. So which is nothing that the Herbert shit. So sorry, which is nothing that Deitel and Deitel. So the author called Deitel and Nito. So the title is going to be Internet and WWW, How to Program. This particular book, it's a huge one. So almost more than 1,000 pages are there in this particular book. So this book will cover the first unit and the second unit, and then followed by fourth and fifth unit will be getting it. So jQuery it won't cover. So but first, second, and fourth and fifth unit it will be covering it. So that is one of the book you can use it for your reference. But my suggestions, like you can go with the this Godbowl web technologies, where it will be covering the basis of your the first unit, and followed by you can refer this JSP programming. So where which will be referring that fifth unit, and third unit you can go for this particular book which has been called as HTML5 and CSS3 made simple. So that book you can refer, where which will be covering this second and the third unit which will be having it. So in that way you can go for seeing the referring the books, and through that you can able to get the contents. Okay, this is all about your syllabus, and along with that I'll be providing the material through your LMS, and there also you can just refer it. and I'll be providing that wherever is possible ebook link also I'll give, so that you can take it, and then through that also you can learn it. And another one, in the LMS itself, we'll be having lecture content, and the lecture content, all the content will be there that you can refer, and PPT also will be shared with you people, and that also you can utilize. And second one, even I'll be handling the practical also for you people. So for this web technologies, we have web technologies practicals also being there. So this web technologies practical, if you've seen that, it will be covering the entire thing which has been already studied in your web technologies theory. So something like we'll be discussing about HTML5, and then followed by jQuery, then server programming, something like servlet and JSP. All these things will be, and even including XML also, which will be covered in your practical. So that means whatever you are studying theoretically, so the same thing will be implementing through your practical. So in that way, it will be covered the entire things. Right. So here, if you've seen that there are 10 prescribed program which is being given for you people for doing it. Along with that, I'll be giving some more additional programs to work on that. So this is going to be your record purpose. These programs need to be used, and you need to create a record, and you have to submit at the end of the semester. Along with it, I'll be giving set of additional programs to work on that, where you can explore more, and through that you can learn a lot. Okay. So if you've seen that, after taking up this particular web technologies practical course, you can able to execute the programs using HTML and jQuery. And along with that, you can able to create a web applications using JSP and Servlet. So that is what the ultimate goal will be, objectives you'll be getting it after completing this particular course. Right. And you've seen that here, the first 5 programs are Servlet programs, and the last 5 programs are all JSP programs. And in that, even HTML5 also will be incorporated, because for designing, you have to use HTML5. And for a client side scripting, you'll be using JScript. jQuery, you'll be using it. And for server side, you'll be using Servlet for first 5 programs. And the next 5 set of programs, you'll be using JSP. And when you're trying to use JSP, which will be having a integral part of HTML5, and jQuery will become integral part of it. So that the entire thing will be incorporated. So the entire syllabus is being incorporated into this, right? So now this first program is all about reading form data. So you need to create a form, and the form will be having multiple data. So how we are going to read that particular data? So something like, just imagine you are going for new user registration. So whenever you're going for a new user registration, where you'll be having a first name, last name, nickname, then age, then you'll be having date of birth, then you'll be having that qualifications, and something like educational qualifications. Then your destination, and or which course that you are studying on it. And so something like some basic information will be asked to you before going for kind of a registration if you want to do on it. It may be like a email registration, or it may be a job-oriented registration, anything. So they'll be asking some basic details, which will be in the form of a form, and where you'll be need to feed some data. So once you feed the data, and those data need to be passed to the server side. So when you want to pass to the server side, we can adapt the 2 different mechanisms being called as get method and post method. So here, this program will be seeing how the get methods work and how the post methods work. So those things will be seeing on it. I mean, basically, you are going to read the form data, and which is going to be passed to the server side with the help of get and post method. So that is what we'll be discussing under this particular first program. And followed by when are you going for giving a request? When you are giving a request to the server side, it's being called as HTTP request. So when you are giving a request, which need to provide a response back to the client stating that this is what my status. So where it may be a status stating that it has been your data has been requested, data has been available, and successfully it will be responding back to you. Or the data has been not been available. So where you need to give a response stating that due to this reason, the data is not available. So where it is being called as HTTP status. So status, you might have seen that many times in your website itself. Something like 404, you might have seen that, and 403 and 503. So these are all different status numbers. You might have seen that. So page cannot be displayed, 404. So that is one of the status. And similar way, 503, which is forbidden. So, and similar way, network failure. So for each and everything, there'll be a status which will be a response back to the client stating that due to this reason, so we couldn't able to serve your request. Or maybe the server is down. So it will be stating that currently the server is down. So these are all the status. It's being called as HTTP status. So that's what we are going to discuss under this particular program. And what are the different codes are being there for particular status, which need to be given response back to the client. So something like it start from 0 till 599. There are 600 different status are being available. In that, we'll be discussing about most widely used status code is being in the market. Okay. And one of the famous status code, which is 200. 200 is stating that OK status. OK status means your request has been successfully solved and there is no issues. So it is being called as 200. That is status in the code, right? And similar way, whenever you're doing any programs, there'll be an error which will be happening. So it might be a runtime error. When there is a runtime error happening, how we are going to handle it? So where they use the same Java mechanism. So from Java, they have taken this exception handling. So same things you might have studied. There are 5 keywords. Can anyone tell me what are those 5 keywords for exception handling, which you studied in the previous semester?
Throws,
okay,
and catch, try, finally.
Okay, so there are 5 keywords. So try, catch, throws, and finally. So these are the 5 keywords being used for exception handling. Okay, so same thing which is being adapted even here also in Servlet. So they are using error handling mechanism. So try catch, and they are trying to catch a particular exception. And if the exception has been arise, then they'll be throwing that particular exception. And if there is a multiple exceptions being need to be handled, then they'll be using throws. And finally, if whatever exceptions being trying to handle on it, if it is not found of any of the cases, it will go into finally, and then whatever statement has been there, that will get executed. So that is going to be called as finally. So that is what we will discuss under this particular program. And then followed by a cookie. So again, I already mentioned cookies, nothing like temporary storage. And when I'm going for creating the cookie, so for that ID will be created. So here, as per this particular program, we'll be creating a cookie and then we'll be displaying the particular cookie. So that we will know that who has created a cookie and what is the response for that. So for that, cookie ID is there, cookie name is there, and cookie value also there. Those things we'll be discussing under this particular program. And followed by the next program, which is going to be write a program to invoke servlet from applet. So that means how we can go for getting the request from the servlet, and we need to give a response back to the applet. So that is what we're going to discuss under this program. So where we'll be using applet code as well as servlet code. Both will be there. And applet is going to be a client-side program, and your servlet is going to be a server-side program. And how these two things are going to get communicated each other and doing the interactions. So that is what this program will be discussing on it. Okay, and followed, these are all 5 set of basic programs being part of your servlet, and followed by JSP program. So in JSP program, so to give the glimpse first, so where we'll be having some basic program, which is nothing that arithmetic function, some basic arithmetic function we'll be doing using JSP program. So that is the introduction point. And then followed by, we'll be discussing about how to handle the cookie. So that is the next program using JSP, and followed by how to send an email. How to send an email to different clients. So that is another program which we'll be discussing under JSP. And then followed by, we'll be discussing about how to implement expressions. So you might have seen that regular expression. So even JSP has expression language is there, JSP expression language. And using this JSP expression language, especially there are set of tags are being available for JSP expression language. And through that, we'll be executing this particular program. And then last one, it's all about backend connectivity, and you'll be connecting to the database server, and from there you'll be fetching out the student information, and which will be providing the information. Something like we'll be generating the student mark list. So the student mark list will be stored in the backend database, and from there we'll be fetching out based on the student register number. Once you're given the student register number, which will be printing their marks card. So something like how you're getting in your TCS Ion, right? So once you're given your register number and once you submit it, so which will be, you can able to see your marks. So similar kind of stuff, which will be doing it using JSP. So where we'll be creating a backend schema, and in that we'll be creating a structure where we'll be having some sample data will be get stored of a set of students with the marks. And once you're given that corresponding student register number, and which will be going into backend to verify that, and if it is available, and which will be fetching out the results. So where it will be displaying that student name, register number, and followed by the subject marks, along with the total also will be get printed out. So that is what we'll be doing it in the last program. Okay, so these are all 10 different setup programs. We'll be doing it on your practical. Okay, so this is all about your practical things, what we'll be doing on it. So already we discussed about theory as well as this is going to be your practical. So on this, if you have any doubt, you can ask me so that I can clarify your doubts.